Hello, Mr. Deep. Today I was able to go over asymptotes with my student. She presented me with a graph that looked somewhat like this, with asymptotes at some values, and then she actually did not know what an asymptote was. So I had to teach her that an asymptote was basically a point where a point in the graph that the line does not cross over. I told her that also it's when something ends up equaling a number over zero. I offered to explain to her why, but I did tell her that it was a little bit more advanced, so she declined, and that's okay. But I think it might have been helpful for her to know exactly why dividing something over zero would equal negative positive infinity. After I taught her what an asymptote was, she was easily able to pick out the asymptotes in these graphs, and then she was able to write down the equations, which would be x equals -7, x equals positive 2. There were two questions like this that she didn't know, and the second one was significantly easier. The third question, however, was a little bit more difficult. It showed a graph. I'm not sure if it was to scale, but it looks somewhat like this. And then there was a number, and then there are two parentheses, and then the y equals, and it asked what was inside these parentheses in order to make this graph. So I asked her to solve it herself, and she got 5, and she got -7. I told her that this would simplify down to a value, which in this case it'd be 12 over -35. And that would mean that it'd be a straight line, because for every value of x, y would equal 12 over -35, or -12 over 35. So I told her that this should be a red flag, that something is wrong with the way you're solving it. So I told her also that there would always be an x here, because from this graph you can kind of tell that the asymptotes are x equals 5 and x equals -7. So I basically explained to her that when this is plugged in here or here, the numbers in the parentheses would then equal 0, which would make the whole bottom 0, which would then make it an asymptote, because it's a number being divided by 0. So I was able to walk her through it, and then I told her that to kind of look at it like you plug this in here, and then -7 plus a number, let's just call it b, would have to equal 0. That looks like a 6, but that's supposed to be 0. And then once I kind of wrote it out in equation form, it seemed to click for her, and then she was able to identify that it was x plus 5, x -7 down here. But when I asked her to do the equation again, I find the equation again with the asymptotes, sometimes she would forget that oh, no. First, I taught her a trick that if you find the asymptotes, which if x was like -7 and x was 5, you just flip the sign and then stick it under the number with whatever. Stick it next to the x, so x, and then the -7 would turn to +7, so x plus 7, and 5 would turn to -5, so x minus 5, and that'd create, that'd give you these. But she occasionally showed the habit of just directly sticking the asymptotes under it, so x equals -7, x plus 5. My co-tutor then, I gave the reins to my co-tutor after explaining to her again that you flip the sign, and my co-tutor then gave her practice problems, and that was it.